Parkinson's UK had just set up a new program called our Virtual Biotech program, and it was designed to find projects that were happening often in small companies, often in startup companies, that were perhaps a little bit early, a little bit high risk, that might have difficulty finding the financing from other investors, but where we believed the Parkinson's community could have a real benefit from this treatment if we could just give it a push, give it a helping hand, get it through one or two difficult stages. So we had that program in place, and then we got contacted by you, Adrian.
That's right. So at our end, as a small biotech company, we were looking for support to conduct advanced development of NLX112, and that's not easy at very early stages, because these are the high risk steps. This is where programs can fail, and also Parkinson's UK and the Virtual Biotech really has this desire to help companies in our situation. So there was a very good fit between what you were trying to do and our situation at the time. We worked with the Virtual Biotech and groups of patients through the Virtual Biotech to design a trial which we think was optimized to get the results that we were looking for in an efficient manner. And for example, in contact with Parkinson's patients through the Virtual Biotech, we in fact sought to make the trial shorter, more compact, to facilitate participation, and also to allow people with Parkinson's who are already being treated with other medications. I'm thinking of amantadine, which is a drug used to control some of the dyskinesia, to allow those participants into the trial and therefore facilitate recruitment. So that was a useful way of optimizing the trial design. The trial was a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled study. We recruited 27 patients, 22 fully completed the study. So there were 15 on drug treatment and 7 on placebo. And what we found was that the primary outcome was successful, and that was actually safety and tolerability of the drug. This was really important because even though this drug candidate had been developed previously for other indications, there were over 600 people had been exposed to NLX112. That was for other populations of participants and not in Parkinson's. And we wanted to be really very prudent, in an abundance of caution, to check that it was really safe and well tolerated in people with Parkinson's. And that was the case, so we were very pleased with that. Then the secondary outcome was efficacy against levodopa-induced dyskinesia. So we asked the participants to come into the clinic and receive an additional levodopa dose, which would trigger their dyskinesia, and we would then check to see if that was reduced in the participants with NLX112, and that was indeed the case. The anti-dyskinetic effect, it was very highly significant. The placebo group did not show statistically significant response, so that was also very positive. Now the other feature of this trial, which was really interesting, is that as well as checking for an anti-dyskinetic effect, we were also interested to see what happened to Parkinsonian symptoms themselves. Now this is because some previous drugs which have been targeted at treating dyskinesia interfered with the therapeutic effect of levodopa. And so we wanted to see if that was also the case for NLX112. And interestingly, not only did NLX112 not interfere with the therapeutic effect, but it actually further reduced the Parkinsonian symptoms. So it looks like we have a dual anti-dyskinetic and anti-Parkinsonian effect with NLX112, and that's really exciting.
These projects go through multiple stages of research and multiple stages of funding. So you've gone through a couple of stages of research and a couple of stages of funding with us as a partner.
Yes.
What's the next stage?
I think we're in a very strong position now to attract partnerships with other biotech companies or pharmaceutical companies, and the objective there would be to move to a larger trial.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a trial which would recruit typically something like 160 or 180 patients. So much bigger than the present trial. It would also be a longer duration. In terms of the development process, what we're looking at is what we would call a phase 2B. This is the next trial. And beyond that, you would want to carry out a trial which would generate the data which we would submit to the regulatory authorities. So that was what we would call a phase 3 trial.
Yeah.
And in terms of timing, if all goes optimally, you're looking at 6, 7, 8 years. So potentially something like 2030 is not unrealistic as a approval date for the drug, and making that available to people with Parkinson's who really need it.